Yeah. So with the EpiPen redesign, it's going really well. We're working on different designs, four of them, four different prototypes, and we've kind of split up into buddy teams. So where we pair in a more experienced or older member with younger members, and in this way we can kind of make the workload a little more distributed, as well as help them feel a little bit more connected, even though it's all virtual to their buddy. And right now we're working with the medical device companies to find the correct CO2 or argon gas cartridges, typically in the 300 to 400 PSI range. And we're also looking at different spring constants and spring release mechanisms to overcome the force in order to administer the drug through the skin. And so right now we're actually looking at both CO2 and spring. We want to keep both options available, and we want to make sure that we can create the best mechanism. And like I mentioned, our member participation is great, and our buddy system working out well. We no issues with members. Everyone's really involved. Everyone has a chance to, work on the project and provide input. And I really feel confident in not only the progress of the project, but also the members and their development, because I think just going with the buddy system has allowed everyone to get a chance to learn and, go through troubleshooting and trying to figure out things, and also going through the design process. And I'm really, really excited for the coming quarters. But Kajal, do you want to add, Kajal?
Yeah, so I agree with everything that Kesai said. Everything's going really well. And here are some screenshots of some SolidWorks prototypes that our members have been making. You can see that there's some similarities and also some differences in between all the different types of prototypes, and it's all for the purpose of testing different mechanisms to see which one will be the best for our final design.
Yeah, we're already getting into modeling, and as we continue to develop these prototypes, we're trying to keep modeling. So it's been really great, working through SolidWorks and letting everyone get a chance to use SolidWorks and learn different things. And actually, this one, I don't know if my mouse shows up, but the third one from the left, I believe was made by Matthew, and he said, they downloaded SolidWorks maybe a week or two ago, and he already made that. So I was really impressive. I was super impressed by him on doing that, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how much more he can develop.
Okay, for the electrolyte monitor project, one of the first things we did was, because a lot of what we did this quarter was look into research, we split up into a general group that was focused on the iontophoresis part of our device, which is like the pulling the electrolyte from your skin. And then another group worked on like the ISFET part, which is like what actually measures the electrolyte. And we also looked at, like who could actually use this device. So we were looking at electrolyte imbalances, and we found that it's pretty strongly correlated with people on long-term medication that have had recent medical procedures, and a lot of like seniors. And then we also found studies that even like really mild imbalances could help or could make like worse health outcomes when you like have more severe events. So like having like a really convenient way to monitor electrolyte is definitely important. And then we also looked into like actually how to build the device. So for next quarter, we're splitting into 4 different groups. So the general group is splitting into 3 kind of like subcategories that are working on the like computational modeling that kind of models how the device interacts with the skin, an actual testing setup, hopefully, that has like some circuitry and some electrodes, and that can work on like a really basic like solution or maybe even animal tissue. And then like CAD modeling for the actual like band design. So like how that's gonna fit onto your wrist and how to make that something that's like pretty easily wearable and something that people actually want to wear. And as far as like the ISFET, that's something that has to be like fabricated in the clean room. So we're working on getting access to that. One of our members has access through like another project. So we're hopefully going to be like doing some really cool fabrication. And then going back to the actual like design of the band that we came up with. I think it's on the next slide, but we came up like with a really basic design concept so far, but basically we want to have like a really flexible rubber band and then have the actual hardware for the device like fit into it. and then have little slots for the electrodes. And that way the electrodes will be like really flush with your skin. And the band will be something that's not like super hard to work with. And this was kind of inspired by like the older Fitbit designs that are super like sleek and based on like what like a runner or someone in sports might need. So yeah, that's where we're at so far.
All right, so we're a new project. Hi, I'm Lily. But we this quarter started our research into the process of pain evaluation to determine an area that we as an engineering team could approach and tackle. And what that has led us to do is focus on a mix of a protocol and tweaked or new chart kind of approach. But how we came to that is we broke up into two teams, which are the survey and interview teams. And our survey team has just completed drafting the survey and will be submitting it for IRB approval soon and sending it to Dr. Hawkins, the club advisor, to look over. And the interview team is and will be carrying out interviews this quarter and over winter break so that we can get an idea of what the perspective is from the doctors or physician side, whereas the surveys focus more on like the patient experience. And over winter break, we also plan on starting initial designs, just kind of spitballing and throwing stuff out there to see kind of what fits and what works. And then once survey results come back, we will use that information to tweak the best ideas. And yeah, it's been going well and we're pretty much on track. So.
Hi, I'm Tanvi. I'm also the leader of one of the new projects this year, which is the gluten sensing device. And so this quarter, we also were focused mainly on research. So like the EpiPen design project, we kind of split up into sub-teams, more of like a buddy system. And basically, we started off with researching reference material for hydrolyzed gluten and the properties of that, basically to fill in the gaps of our understanding as to why hydrolyzed gluten is harder to be detected than intact gluten. Then we were also able to identify 3 commercially available tests for hydrolyzed gluten that have been validated and are on the market right now. And so basically our approach is to try and refine those tests to basically meet the requirements for detecting hydrolyzed gluten and basically consolidating that into a device. And so that's essentially going to be our approach for winter break in the upcoming quarter, is basically how to convert an antibody-based method into a diagnostic tool. And so alongside research, we've had some of our members who have not had experience with SolidWorks yet begin tutorials. And so that way, when it comes time to prototyping, we can jump right into it. Yeah, so that was essentially phase 1 of our research. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hi, we're also a new project, so we've really been spending this quarter doing a lot of research. The project is ideally developing a wearable device to predict and notify a person when they have an upcoming seizure. So what we've done so far is we completed like our initial research of VOC-based seizure prediction, which is the seizure odor that can be sensed by dogs. And we reached out to recent researchers that just completed a study and working towards identifying that that molecule. And they've gone back to us. And what their research did was identified ions that interact with this specific VOC. So we are still a ways away. And so at this point, we're kind of looking into different other pathways that we can take. We're also researching like different heart variations during the preictal period before a seizure and seeing if we can go in that route. And as of right now, our team is working as one unit, but once we get farther along and potentially are going to look into different ways to go, we plan on splitting the group up.
And going forward, we have a few paths that we're looking at. We're going to continue to look at VOC compound like identification and continue to consider that pathway. But the leads we have on heart rate based predictions seem more promising at the moment. There was a company called PulseGuard in Great Britain that at one point had a heart rate based prediction, seizure prediction device on the market, but it doesn't seem to be on the market anymore. And it's somewhat unclear why. It seemed to be working. So we're guessing that's more of a business side decision, but we need to look further into that. And then there were some studies that members of our group were looking at that had to do with electrodermal prediction that also had some results that were possibly helpful. So going forward, we're planning to meet with Dr. Hawkins to discuss the different research we've viewed and consider which of the sensing strategies we want to implement. And that might be implementing both heart rate monitoring and electrodermal to create a more accurate prediction model than the previous devices on market.
Cool. Thanks everyone for sharing and listening. Sounds like a lot of cool work going on. And I'm really excited for the next couple of quarters. So just to kind of wrap up the quarter, I have we have a feedback form that I put in the Zoom chat. It's a pretty short like Google form, and it also has the like when to meet like availability form on it. Please, like, if you have time, fill that out just based on your schedule right now, because we're trying to figure out, when we should plan to have meetings next quarter. And then that form also has like feedback options for like if you attended any events throughout the quarter. So yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. Kaise, do you have any other notes?
No, that's about it. Yeah, so if you can fill out those feedback forms, it's a really good way for us to know what was good, what was bad, what you'd like to see different, as well as getting a better look at everyone's schedules, because understandably, it doesn't seem like we might want to work a bit better around everyone's schedules for our meeting times, just so that people at least have the opportunity to come out to these. But other than that, I just want to wish every project and every team, good luck going forward, as well as over winter break. And we're doing our very best to adapt to the different things that we have to take into consideration, especially as different projects kind of move forward in different stages. We're gonna have to make sure to plan out things so that we make sure that we're doing everything right, but we're also not preventing any of our projects. But yeah, it's great seeing everyone, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how these projects turn out.
Thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your quarter.